Hello everyone and welcome back to another album review, and in this video I'm going to review Goodbye by IC3PEAK. This is the brand new album of the Russian duo IC3PEAK, who go into lots of different sounds when it comes to a more experimental and industrial approach on hip-hop music. Their sound has some of the standard elements that you might find in a very aggressive trap project, or like in something that could go close to like the side of trap metal with some heavy distorted bass, and it's all done with a very nice and pristine and clean production. But this duo is much more than that, as with their projects they incorporate elements of witch house, and the vocals can sometimes go closer to in like an opera feel. And in general, with some of the backing instrumentation, it can bring some elements of like traditional Russian music, or just a nice approach on just art pop. So in general, there are lots of sounds and lots of different faces coming with this project, but the great thing is that they make for some very great results, and one of the most unique and one of the most exceptional duos to have ever come out in the recent hip-hop scene. For me, IC3PEAK have done some amazing songs, though when it comes to some of their very short full-length albums, I still haven't found that something that would really blow me away, as there are mainly some tracks that kind of go into a one-dimensional route, and there are not that many like great highlights, but when there are, they're pretty amazing. And I would say that this is pretty much sort of the case with Goodbye, as this is also a pretty short album that still has some great highlights to it, but there are also some moments that felt slightly underwhelming. Now, before getting into the course of talking about the album over here, my introduction with IC3PEAK was with the track This World Is Sick, which instantly blew me away, and I was definitely looking forward to more stuff. I think that some of their early stuff is pretty compelling, and it's also nice to see that they've also done the production in the track Leave Me Alone by Thome, which is definitely one of the most exceptional tracks in the whole trap scene in my opinion. But this is also done with some quite sharp lyricism that goes into political stuff, mainly talking about the corrupted political system of Russia, which ended up as a result creating a big controversy. When they released their previous album, the most popular song out of this album just created a very big controversy, which had as a result for their live shows to get banned, and it even got into some very severe situations for the duo. But it seems that they still keep up with what they do, and that they still try to convey a very serious political message, which I think is something that is also kind of embraced with a militaristic feel of the main single they released, Marching. This track is absolutely amazing, with its very industrial militaristic drums, those silly vocals at the beginning, but goddamn, this distorted bass is just so sickening and so brutal, especially when it comes towards the second half, and it pretty much distorts anything else. And the rest of the track pretty much follows a formula that we have seen with some of the more aggressive tracks of IC3PEAK, when it comes with some of the vocals, where you have a combination of whispery vocals and also some extremely distorted screams in the background. There is also a very nice transition where it gets to the smoother part. It has a bit of an element of like witch house with art pop and those very beautiful and haunting vocals. It is an amazing track. The next teaser was also very impressive, the track TRRST, which also features ZillaKami, and that is a very nice and pleasant surprise. This track pretty much had what I expected. It was aggressive, it was basically separated in 3 different parts with 3 different melodies, all of them having some similar elements and just combined very well together. ZillaKami's verse was pretty short, but it was pretty much what I wanted from him. I think he made a very good job being part on this track. In general, I loved those two teasers and it prepared me for something really big. But like I said, like with the previous albums from IC3PEAK, I think there are still tracks that are a bit forgettable and slightly underwhelming. I still don't feel like I get a fully fleshed out and fulfilling experience once again, because there's not pretty that much different compared to the previous albums. You pretty much get what you expect, which is not necessarily a bad thing by itself, but still the album can get a bit one-dimensional at some points. I think the album makes a solid introduction with the track Dead Moon, since it is one of the more aggressive moments and there are some very nice scenes that go into this direction of like witch house music, and it is a very tight and very well produced track. Then I Kiss Your Corpse, I think it's also a decent work. I like some of the elements, especially with the witch house parts and its simple melodies. Then we get into some of those moments that go more into like the art pop sphere, and the issue with those works is that they feel slightly unfulfilling, that there could have been more attached to them. Some of them feel a bit empty, slightly unfulfilling, or there isn't that much to like the melody that would strike me as something that memorable. The album also, in my opinion, has two completely unnecessary interludes with the two tracks that go for about 1.5 minutes long. I think those tracks are unnecessary. I didn't think they offered that much to the album, and it could be better if it was without those tracks and we just had just 10 tracks. I think it would make for a slightly better experience. And like I said, with tracks like It Doesn't Care and I Have No Friends, there could have been something a bit more done to them. Also the same with a track featuring Haski, which the feature by itself, it's interesting, it makes for a nice addition, but this was one of the very forgettable moments. On the other hand, I think the album picks up in the second half, but it's with some of the more aggressive moments. This is where we get the peak from their sound and their more interesting ideas. The track Whip Whip is kinda decent, but the album gets better in my opinion when we get into the track мкAD, which has a very nice combination of so many different approaches in a short period of time, very gorgeous vocals and a very nice feel in general. Then we also have the track Hole featuring Ghostemane, a feature that I wouldn't expect, and I was pleasantly surprised with it. I was just hoping that Ghostemane would have a very decent feature, because truth be told, I'm not a huge fan of some of the later stuff of Ghostemane, but fortunately he delivers and he has the delivery I would pretty much expect from him in a track like this, because this is definitely the most aggressive, the most insane track out of this entire album. It has an aesthetic that you could get from a Ghostemane song. It is very aggressive, it has a sort of a trap metal feel to it, it is mind-numbingly insane with its extremely distorted bass, and the whole vibe, the whole feel with its repeated piano melodies, it is very haunting. And I think that Ghostemane, with these 3 different stylistic variations he has with his voice, he pretty much delivers very well, adding to the song. The verse is kind of short, but it still works. So with that being said, the album has its flaws. I still don't think we get an extremely amazing album from IC3PEAK, but this is still a pretty nice and fascinating result. Some great highlights from their entire career are contained in this album, they pretty much still keep with the very nice and sharp lyrics, pristine, intense production, great vocals. Some tracks could have more to them as they feel slightly empty, and some moments might feel just completely unnecessary, like with the two interludes. But other than that, another solid album from IC3PEAK. I was not disappointed. I'm going to give Goodbye a 7 plus out of 10. What's your opinion on this album? Like it, dislike it, why, and what do you want me to review next time? Let me know down in the comments. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.